Hey, everybody, off the Mike Sports Network here. Another edition of Off the Top Rope. So we are the week of Double or Nothing, and clearly what we are heading towards, at least, this week. And I've been critical of the booking of Double or Nothing in terms of specifically outside of the Owen Hart Cup tournament matches. This does not feel like a pay-per-view. But I'm going to get killed for this because there's a bunch of Mercedes stands who think that I'm just disrespectful of Mercedes. Again, I will put the disclaimer on this to start this for those of you people who are just going to look at the thumbnail, click on this video, and just rip me apart for saying that I hate Mercedes. I don't like what she has become. And I'm gonna get to my point here in a second, because here's what all you need to know. Toni Storm, the last couple of weeks, when she didn't need to, has wrestled a match, and she took a loss to set up her world title match at Double or Nothing when she doesn't even need to have this match. She's going to beat Mina Shirakawa. But there is literally no reason for Toni Storm to have this match. Meanwhile, Mercedes Mone is the TBS champion. She is the TBS champion. I saw some stat that she's like 100 some odd days away from breaking Jade Cargill's record, which, if you're delusional if you think she's losing that championship before that point, because Tony Khan's petty, and Mercedes, no matter what amount of creative control, whether she is making the decisions or Tony's making the decisions, Mercedes is breaking that record. That's happening. That is happening. But one thing jumped out to me, because I have said from jump since this tournament got made, which was started around Dynasty about a month ago, what in the fuck is Mercedes doing in this tournament? They used this tournament as a vehicle to have the match with Athena, which could have very easily happened at All In, maybe it does happen at All In, but I don't know why. I don't even know that there's any reason to do that. But here's everything that you need to know about why Toni Storm is doing exactly, and I've said this on multiple shows previously, Toni Storm is doing what Mercedes Mone said she was going to do when she got there, is elevate the women's division with this TBS title run. Instead, she is taking the spot from somebody else to be in the Owen Hart Cup tournament final. I understand Mercedes and Toni is a dream match, and it's probably the biggest women's match that you could build, but it is working to the detriment of this division. And here, let me illustrate this point to you guys. Mercedes Mone in 2025 has defended the TBS title 3 times. 3 times. The last time she defended it was 2 months ago against Billy Starks to set up the feud with Athena. The title that she holds, she doesn't defend it. And I know some people will come at me and basically say, well, Roman Reigns basically never defended it, whatever. Okay. Here's the difference. There's a story there with the bloodline. What's the story here with Mercedes? That she's the boss and the CEO? There's no story here. It's all about getting her wins and developing her up to the point of what we already knew. She is a great wrestler. I have never had an issue with anything that Mercedes has done in the ring. Some of the stuff that she has done in AEW has been some of the best stuff that she has ever done. The Chris Statlander stuff was outstanding. A lot of the wrestling that she has done, her character stinks, and she does not lose. And when you are the champion saying that you want to elevate other women, and you haven't lost, and you haven't bothered to defend that title in 2 months, and you are taking the spot of somebody else in this tournament to face Jamie Hayter, and presumably she's going to beat Jamie Hayter, and we're going to get the dream match, which on some level I understand. I understand about box office appeal. But you could build to this in so many other better ways and not rush to this immediately and just, just blow your load on this and just get everything out of your system right away. They did this with Ricochet and Ospreay. They've done this with a lot of the dream matches that they had in their back pocket, and now they don't have any dream matches to go to. One of your cornerstone matches at All In is going to be a match that we've seen like 6 or 7 times, Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada. But I will continue to harp on this, and I just saw this on the internet saying, yeah, Mercedes Mone is close to breaking Jade Cargill's record. And I thought to myself, Man, when was the last time she defended the TBS title? I was like, was it really against Billy Starks? I looked this up, and the last time she defended it was March 19th of this year. She's defended that title 3 times. 3 times. She defended it against Billy Starks, Harley Cameron, and Yuka Sakazaki. That is all that she has done this year for the TBS title. What good does this serve other than you breaking the record? That's all they're doing now. Because if they really wanted to present this TBS title in some way that it was in some sort of jeopardy and wanted to actually at least give you the vibe, Mercedes wouldn't be in this tournament. And she'd be setting up for a feud with Athena. But she already beat Athena. She already beat her. And I know some people are left out with the caveat, and maybe this is still on the table, that Jamie Hayter will win on Sunday and Athena will ultimately be the opponent for Mercedes Mone. But even if that's the point of what we're going to get to, then Mercedes isn't losing. She's not losing. They are taking this until they get past whatever it was, 500 some odd days that Jade Cargill held that title. And if you're one of these people that goes to bat for Mercedes and says that she is elevating the women's division in AEW, look at what WWE has done. Julia and Roxanne Perez have just been elevated to the main roster. Their women's division is tip top. Tiffany Stratton's at the top of the Io Sky's at the top of the women's division. Everybody complains about Rhea Ripley and how she's hogging the spotlight. First of all, Rhea Ripley's a star, but Rhea Ripley didn't win the championship at WrestleMania. She may win it back at some point, but they're going to delay it a little bit. Mercedes doesn't need the title to be over. And by her winning the championship on her first match after being in that company for 2 months, cutting the legs out from underneath Willow at the start, it just set a bad taste in my mouth. Yes, she has been an incredible value in terms of the in-ring product, but that's never the issue. That's never the issue with AEW. They are always good in-ring. The storytelling and the characters are lacking. And when she is holding onto that championship and she's defended that title 3 times this year with no storyline reason whatsoever, like at least with Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar was ridiculous, but that was a different time. Roman Reigns, at least, when he was the Universal Champion, you had the bloodline and you had that element of storytelling. There's nothing. Mercedes is just beating these people, just beating them. And the last time you defended this title was 2 months ago. You're in a tournament that you don't need to be in. And meanwhile, Toni Storm, when she doesn't need to, is defending the championship on Sunday. She doesn't need to have this match with Mina Shirakawa. She doesn't need to take a pinfall. She did. Maybe Mercedes Mone should look at that and say, oh shit, maybe that will help elevate people into this division. I don't like where this is going to put Mina Shirakawa at the end of it because she's going to lose. But at least Toni Storm is doing what she can to try and elevate new people in this division and having these eliminator matches, even if they're a cheesy cop-out way to get Toni into a match. At least she's doing shit. And don't give me the excuse that Mercedes has been doing stuff in New Japan. Guys, that's a different company. That is a different company. When it comes to AEW, what has she done for this women's division? Nothing. Nothing. Everything is an ego boost for her. She has done a great job of working with a lot of talent, and she's done a great job of wrestling and having really tip-top matches and I give her a ton of credit for coming back from what nearly was a career-threatening ankle injury that she had last year. Or it was actually 2 years ago in 2023. I give her credit for that. But this run has been a net negative for AEW. It hasn't helped anybody. And when you look at and if you want to give me arguments or anything about that, she's defended the TBS Women's Championship 3 times this year. She's holding on to multiple championships. When she lost her New Japan Strong Championship to Izumi, she wasn't even pinned. This is all about her. And I will continue to come on here and be critical until she does the right thing for this company and takes a loss, because there's no shame in doing that. Look at Toni Storm. She literally took a loss as the women's champion, the women's world champion. And she lost it just so she could have a match. It's bizarre to me how so many people completely misconstrue my opinion about Mercedes Mone. I do not hate this woman. I do not hate what she has done for women's wrestling. I do not like what she has done in AEW. And just masking it with, hey, her being the champion is a good thing. Her being in the main event and her potentially having a main event level match with Toni Storm is a good thing. It's like, is it? You're holding on to another championship. You could very easily have another women's match there and maybe she still does, and I'm bound to be surprised, but there's no reason for me to believe that at this point. So, again, 3 title defenses this year, and the last one was 2 months ago. That's just unacceptable. That's just not acceptable. If you're really caring about the women's division in AEW, put your money where your mouth is. Should start with losing to Jamie Hayter on Sunday, and then should also continue with losing that TBS title as soon as possible at All In to Athena. But I have no reason to believe that that's happening. So come at me in the comments, but y'all know I'm right, because how is this benefiting anybody when she's not defending the title and she's always winning when she does defend the title? It's very clear what the end goal is here. I've said that for months. Maybe they surprise me on Sunday, but I don't believe it's going to happen. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys soon.